How come you so much in touch with Kenyan affairs?
Well, we go to Kenya. Our family and friends are still back home in Kenya. Our parents, for example, my mother is still very much alive and back in Kenya. So I make a point to make sure that I'm in touch. I spoke with her earlier today.
Yeah. Oh.
I try to also follow Kenyan politics and everything that happens in Kenya.
When last were you in Kenya?
I was in Kenya the whole of December and part of January this year.
This year? Oh,
Yes,
last
yes.
time this year.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So you do visit quite regularly, right?
Yes, except for the period that we had COVID-19. It was a bit difficult to travel. So I didn't go to Kenya in 2020, 2021. But from last year, I've been to Kenya with my entire family. I live here with my wife and 2 kids. So we're all in Kenya during December holidays. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so when did you come to Botswana?
Yeah, that's 17 or 18 years ago. But I remember it was December of 2004. Yes. Yes.
What led you down here? Rather, why did you come?
You see, Kenyans by nature are, outward bound. I know there are so many people in Kenya who would like to look for opportunity outside of the country. So I had just finished my master degree at University of Nairobi, and I was looking for new opportunity. And then we happen to have had a good friend here. May her soul rest in peace. She's called Florence Onyango, who invited us, and we came, both myself and my wife, and we were lucky enough to get jobs. Yes.
So what do you do?
I'm a quality assurance manager.
Okay.
Yes, in charge of our QMS at the university, or our quality management system at the university.
Okay.
I work for a university here called Boto, and we've got campuses in Gaborone, we've got a campus in Namibia, a campus in Lesotho. Actually, next week I'll be working from Lesotho. We have one in Eswatini. We have our newest campus in Ghana, Accra, Ghana. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And it is a university from Botswana, right?
Yes. Yes.
Is it a private university?
It is a private university, and I think that the best private university in this country. I mean, you can look us up. You can go to our website and see what we do.
Okay.
We've got a very vibrant staff and student community. Very multinational, and you can see that with our footprint all over Africa. I think we're becoming the African university. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, so Tom, I'm told you are a leader of Kenyans in diaspora.
Yes.
Yeah. Who are you exactly in that category, on that realm?
Yes, the current chairman of the Kenya Botswana Diaspora Association, which is the Association of Kenyans living in Botswana. I am in my second term. My tenure. I'm on my second term as chairman of the association. Our association is very popular in Botswana with the Kenyans. We have a membership of around 960 Kenyans, and some of our members live here in Gaborone, but others live in small towns away from Gaborone. There's a town called Francistown, about 400 kilometers away, where you'll be traveling. There's also a town nearby called Maun. There's another town called Lobatse. It's not too far, about 44 kilometers away. So we have Kenyans all over the country, and we try to unite all those Kenyans through the association. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, let me not forget that we also work very closely with the Kenyan embassy in in Botswana. Our current ambassador, Mohammed Shidie, he is our favorite ambassador. Very, very helpful. He's got an open door policy, and we work closely with his office, to just make sure that we take care of the welfare of Kenyans in this country. Yes.
So what are some of the things you do as a chair of the association?
Yes, I do a lot. Let me say we do a lot because it's an entire office. 7 of us. I've got a vice chairman, Mr. Gitau. I've got a secretary called Rose Were. I've got a treasurer called Jackson Nyangechi. I've got Pauline Mayo. I've got Michael Dinga. Who am I forgetting? I think that makes the 7 of us.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I've forgotten some. Oh, there's Kefa Okiome also, who's our assistant secretary. So the 7 of us is in charge of, just coordinating the activity of Kenyans in the country, especially with regard to their welfare. And we've done quite a bit as an association because the first thing that we realized is when you live outside of the country, you really have to be part of the network of your community. So one, we try to unite the Kenyans, and our people, they're easily divided along, say, political lines, sometimes along tribal lines. So my first big task was to make sure that we unite our community here. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction that the Kenyans in Botswana are very, very much united. It is such a lovely group to work with. So that is something that I feel that takes a lot of our time, just making sure that we create activities that bring the Kenyan community together. We also notice that sometimes, people fall into, bereavements and stuff like that. And it's very expensive. You can imagine if a Kenyan passes on here in Botswana, it's very expensive even transporting the body home. So we have arranged group insurance for the Kenyan community here, and it is really serving us well. So far, I think we've made claims totaling to almost 10 million Kenya shillings, and it is so simple and straightforward. We encourage members to join, and then in case something happens, we are paid about 500,000 Kenya shillings for a principal member. So you can imagine if, God forbid, I pass on here, we simply call the insurance company and we've got 500,000. I mean, with that money, we can begin to make funeral arrangement, at least to transport the body back home. So we are even encouraging other Kenyans who live in this country and have not yet joined our insurance scheme to do so, because if there's one thing you're sure of but you don't know when it will happen, it's death. And we don't want us to be the ones managing the risk of death. We want to transfer that risk to an insurance company, and it works better that way. The other thing that we are now currently working on is a SACCO. We have already registered our SACCO in Nairobi. Last December when I was there, we went to the Ministry of Cooperatives and we finalized a lot of stuff around the the procedure and processes of establishing the SACCO. We've called our first AGM for the SACCO on the 19th of this month. So that means immediately I come from Lesotho. That is what I'll be working on. We want to establish that SACCO, and we also see that as a good opportunity for our people to be able to invest back home. Because if you have a SACCO where you can save in Kenya shillings, you can save through your M-Pesa, you can save through Orange Money, it encourages people to send money home. And I think that is what our government wants, and also that is also what we want for Kenyans to also be able to have some investment back home. Yes, so that's a huge project that we are focusing on that year. This year, already our insurance is working very well. We want the SACCO also to work very well. We've already produced our activity calendar for for this year, and there's a lot lined up, including things like blood donation.
Yeah.
We live in Botswana, and we also want to be seen to be engaging well with the local community. So we always try to come up with events where we also have an opportunity to interact with Botswana. So things like blood donation, I mean, anybody can come and donate blood.
Yeah.
It will be championed by the Kenyan community, but it will be an open event where we all go and donate blood.
Yeah.
I know that is coming up by around Easter. We also have got Family Fun Day, where we bring the Kenyan families together. We do our usual nyama choma. You know, families get to meet, the kids play, and
Kind of a family get together, right?
correct.
Yeah.
So we've planned that for this year, and of course for all our all our public holidays.
Yeah.
We also try to plan something during the public holidays, especially if they fall on a weekend.
Yeah.
Because then families are free to come and and socialize.
Yeah.
So we have a lot lined up
Yeah.
this year
Yeah.
on our calendar for the Kenyan community, and I just hope everything goes well. Yes.
Well, you talked something about Kenyans being easily divided along political lines. Sorry, and I agree totally.
Yes.
So, and you see that you've succeeded in some huge levels.
Yes.
I'd like to know how did you succeed?
Interesting. You see, once Kenyans get out of Kenya, they soon realize that there's a lot that should bring them together. Because you see, you come and live in Gaborone and you realize that the neighbor on this side is a Zimbabwean, and the neighbor on this side is a Botswana, and the other guy is maybe South African, and you realize you are surrounded by people who are not necessarily very close to you. Then you begin thinking, in case of anything, who can I run to here? Now that alone makes it easy to unite the Kenyan community here, because you tell them, look, we need to at least have somewhere where we can all belong.
Yeah.
So of course, even when you try to bring people together, sometimes what plays out back in Kenya, you see a bit of that happening, where people start identifying themselves with their tribes, or people trying to identify themselves with their political parties and stuff like that. But I think it's a bit different how people do it here. Yes, we are democratic. I mean, you still are, you belong to a party and you belong to a community. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we discourage is a situation where people people use this negatively. People use their tribal identity negatively, or their political affiliation negatively. So that we really try to moderate. We've got WhatsApp groups where we also monitor how Kenyans are engaging. If we realize that there's somebody maybe making inflammatory remarks, then we have to come in, and we've managed to somehow control that, and people do appreciate it. People do appreciate it. You see, back home in Kenya, it's easy to divide people because maybe you'll come and give them money and stuff. Once you're out here, nobody's going to give you money, you see. So people are a bit more reasonable. People are a bit more objective. And also, the diaspora has always been the moral compass of our country. The people in the diaspora tend to be more objective. Why? Because you see, you are out here. You are not brought out here by government or by anybody. So you don't owe anybody allegiance, whether it's a party or whatever. You are out here hustling and doing your stuff. You understand? So that way you are in a better position to see things objectively. So I even find when we do politics here, it's more objective. It's issue based. Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
Well, so what are some of the main challenges or issues that affect Kenyans here?
Good question. There are quite a bit, and not just here, but Kenyans in the diaspora. Maybe let me first look at it from the perspective of government. Our first big challenge is the way government views us, Kenyans in the diaspora. Government back home. usually the government looks at diaspora in terms of remittance, and this is what they want to monitor very closely.
Yeah.
How much do we send home every year?
Yeah.
But we in the diaspora find that a bit narrow, because in the diaspora there's a lot of human resource, and there can be a lot of knowledge transfer. But we find that most of the time when the challenge is when people look at us, and not just government, but even friends and relatives, when they look at us, they look at you in terms of how much can you send home. I mean, 90% of the communication between you and people at home is about send money for this, send money for that, and you see. So basically, government, family, friends look at you in terms of source of
income.
But we want, which there's no problem with that. But we want them to go beyond that and also look at us as a potential source of knowledge transfer, potential source of human resource. Because there are so many people who have worked here in South Africa, in the US, in Egypt, in Ghana, and they have a wealth of knowledge that we can use in our country. Botswana, for example, is a mining country. There are so many Kenyans engineers here who are engaged in mining activity, or they work for the mines.
Yeah.
We want government to map out the talent that is out here, and also make sure that we are making use of that talent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technology.
Yeah.
Some is already in Kenya, some it's still out here. There are Kenyans leading in some of these areas. If you go to universities in Southern Africa, you'll find a lot of Kenyans leading in those areas as specialists. Why can't you make use of such people? And it also helps us to, benchmark best practice. For instance, Botswana is more of a, should I say, semi-arid. Most of this country, and you'll see tomorrow, is very dry. But you rarely open your tap in Botswana and there's no water flowing. So these are some of the things that the Kenyans here can help to implement back home. How, for example, do they manage their water resource? We've got engineers that can help government to do that. So in terms of challenges, one is the way we are perceived back home, as I said.
Yeah.
In terms of this guy should send money.
Okay.
Government is calculating remittance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other challenge is, you see, when you work in a foreign country, that's not your country. And every country right now is dealing with huge levels of unemployment. And it makes sense if a country prioritizes their people. Now, for us, that is a challenge. People who go to work in another country, because you work sometimes on contracts and then on permits, and sometimes there are so many Kenyans who don't get permits to work.
Yeah.
And the moment you don't have a permit to work in a country or to live in that country, you become an illegal immigrant. And this is where abuse comes in, because when you're in a country and you are not lawfully in that country, then people can abuse you. You see, there's nothing you can do, because for starters, you shouldn't be here. So you usually find a challenge of permits being rejected, and then maybe some people they don't end up going back home, and then they hang around illegally. And for such people, if something happens to them, it's really very difficult to assist. So that is something that I've seen as a challenge.
Yeah.
The other challenge we face in the diaspora is remittance. Even when you want to send money home, the cost of sending that money is very, very high.
Really?
It's expensive to send money.
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, the convenience is there. I can pick my phone right now and send money home. But when you look at the money you had, the money you wanted to send, and what is actually received, a lot of that money has gone into the transaction.
Cost.
Yes, so that is the remittance cost that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what government can do, but it discourages Kenyans from investing back home or even sending money home, because it is very expensive.
Whose fault is that? Is it the government of Botswana or the government of Kenya?
It's not even I think it's the financial systems, the way they work.
Yeah.
because you've got, when you send money, you go into intermediary banks and whatever. Everybody's wants a piece of that money. By the time it gets to whoever you're sending it to, it's very, very small.
Well, can't you send money directly via M-Pesa? Because I know people in the US and elsewhere can send money via M-Pesa.
We can send money through Orange Money direct to M-Pesa.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether you understand where the problem is. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
The problem is the cost of doing that.
Oh.
The cost of doing that is very,
yeah.
the cost of doing that is expensive. Yeah, so assuming I wanted to send my mother $100 and I have $100 here, she's going to receive maybe 50. I've used $100, then she ends up using, receiving only $60. How much money has gone into the cost of that transaction? $40. That's a lot of money.
Lord.
Yeah. So it is one of the challenges that we face here. Other challenges is we also want as diaspora to be engaged in the whatever is happening in our country. Currently, there's a huge push to recognize the diaspora as the 48th county. And I think it is a very reasonable request that we're making to our government. We would like to be recognized as the 48th county of Kenya, because if you look at our contribution to the country, I mean, it's immense. So it is a challenge. And you see, if we are recognized as a county, then we can get better services.
Do you mean that you want to have your governor and senator?
Exactly, why not?
But you people are spread all over.
Well, you see, that even presents an opportunity. That presents an opportunity to leverage, for example, on technology. Nowadays, the fact that somebody is in the US or in UK or in South Africa or here in Botswana doesn't mean that we can literally meet on a daily basis virtually and do whatever we want to do. And I know that we are working with a lot of people in the US, in UK, and here in Africa to try and impress upon our government the need to recognize us as a county. And I'll tell you, the first beneficiary of that will be our own government. Currently, a Kenyan living in Botswana sends home less than, say, 10% of what he earns. But if we organize ourselves and we are a county, it will be, we will be better organized. We'll be looking for business opportunities back home, and that will help us to send even more money back home. So I think government should look at this positively. Okay. They should not just look at us like, oh, now we want to be governors and senators and MPs. Once we are a county, I mean, we need those positions.
Definitely.
But we need those positions so that we better organize ourselves in the diaspora, and you'll be seeing the impact back home in terms of remittance, in terms of some of the projects that we can do collaboratively with our government.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Anything else? I think you said a lot.
Yes. I think in closing, I want to just appeal for peace. We follow what happens in our country, and you see, we in the diaspora, our only interest is for Kenya to develop, and politics plays a very crucial part in the development of our country.
Yeah.
And we sometimes feel that our politics is not managed very well. And that way, it leads into divisions like we are seeing right now. So we just want to appeal to the current regime to create a conducive environment in Kenya where everybody can have the opportunity that they deserve. So sometimes we when we watch TV and we hear some of the statements that politicians make, we are really not happy. I mean, if a politician can say that Kenya is a company and some people have shares, others don't have shares, I mean, for us in the diaspora, that is disheartening. So we want our politicians to be very sober. And to recognize that Kenya belongs to all Kenyans. We all have a right to live in that country, and we also have a right to enjoy the resources in our country equally.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Now the last one. Do you guys vote?
Well, I think I hadn't really finished about the challenges that we are facing.
Yeah.
And that is one of the challenges.
Yeah.
Last year, we managed to vote. Some of us did, but it was, very, very, very difficult because first, to register as a voter, we had to travel to Pretoria in South Africa. And traveling to Pretoria in South Africa is an expensive affair. It's not too far, but those days, I'm happy that now we have, there's no visa requirement to enter South Africa for Kenyans. But back then, you had to pay for visa, and then of course you have to arrange for transport and accommodation and all of that. So it made it very difficult, and it also discouraged a lot of Kenyans from registering and also going back to vote. We would really appeal for government to bring some of these services to our embassies. When I looked at that thing, I could not understand why. It's just one laptop and a lady and a gentleman doing it. And we offered, as a Kenyan community in Botswana, to do it at our own cost, to partner with government. Yes, because the Kenyan community here can fly in 2 people with a laptop to come and register them to vote. Even the voting exercise, we can partner with government. But what I see sometimes government not doing is really not getting proper information from the diaspora. Government should find a way of talking to the Kenyan communities in the countries in which they live. That way we will advise on some of these things, the best approach that could work. In terms of registering people to vote, government was not well advised because they put the registration center in Pretoria. And it required everybody. Yes.
Was Pretoria for all people in the Southern Africa region, or
Yes, for voting. For voting, it was only in Pretoria. Yeah. So you see, we are neighbored here. We have a neighbor here, Namibia, and then you have Zimbabwe, then you have Zambia, then Botswana. You see, all these are neighboring countries, but they don't require visa for Kenyans to visit those countries. So instead of putting a polling station in a country where Kenyans require visa, you just simply put it in Botswana or even in Zambia, then we just travel easily like that. So it means that government needs to work more closely with us in the diaspora so that sometimes we tell them the situation on the ground. Then that way, they are more effective in providing their services. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Shukran.
Asante sana.
Welcome, sir. What's your name, please?
My name is Jacob Okello. I'm a Kenyan citizen resident in Botswana.
For how long have you been in Botswana?
I've been in Botswana for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that means you came in 2002, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did you come? Okay, why did you migrate to Botswana?
Well, looking for better opportunities, looking for greener pastures. The one step led to another, and I found myself here. Yes.
How was the situation when you left Kenya in 2002, economically and otherwise?
Economically, it was down. We were going through the first stages of multipartyism, and it was quite a volatile period to be in Kenya. Politically, economically, also the economy had run down, and we're happy to hear that it has since improved.
Do you have relatives in Kenya?
Yes, I have family in Kenya.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I have all my family in Kenya.
How are they faring, and why haven't you thought about bringing them in Gaborone?
Well, my family is very big. They cannot all fit here.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you live in Gaborone or?
I live in Gaborone.
Yeah.
I live in Gaborone.
So it's Gaborone, not even Gaborone.
It's Gaborone.
Ah.
The G is pronounced as H.
Ah.
In the local dialect, it's Gaborone.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you live in Gaborone?
I live in Gaborone.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do?
I run a company called Practical Housing. We are a construction and engineering company. Yes.
So you're the chief?
I'm the MD.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. How many clients does the company have?
Because of labor requirements, where we do not employ, we are encouraged to employ local citizens. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So you are prohibited completely from...
We're not prohibited.
Yeah.
The legislation is such that it favors the employment of locals.
Mm.
Then also, because we have that mandate from government to not only come here and work, we're also here to train, we're also here to impart knowledge, we're also here to develop the local industry. So we find that it is easier to employ the local than import foreign staff, because it also comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, how can you say, how can you rate the ease of doing business here? And well, it's been long since you left Kenya, but if, okay, you can compare it with Kenya and other countries in Africa as well, but okay, I just want to know the rate or the ease of doing business here, especially now that you're a foreigner.
I would be biased to my country of residence, because probably I'm used to the system, but I still think the ease of doing business is more favorable here than it is in Kenya.
Yeah.
And we have minimal foreign exchange controls as compared to our other neighbors, Namibia and South Africa. So I think, in my opinion, the ease of doing business in Botswana is very favorable. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But then again, being a foreigner, we face hurdles which I think are now global hurdles, because the skill set has been developed.
What are some of them?
Some of them are immigration, basically.
Yeah.
Because initially when we came here because there was a shortage of skill set. Now the skill set has been developed, capacity has been built. Now we are competing with the very people we trained and are now capacitated. And that becomes a bit of a challenge. But we still draw our inspiration and our niche from the fact that we do deliver quality, and that's why we are still relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So when you say competition and the size of Botswana and the population, you say it's about 2.5 million, right?
Botswana has a population of about 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Which compared to Kenya is very minimal.
Very.
It's actually half the population of Nairobi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So with that small population, and you say competition, so how, because I want to believe that it's not everybody in this country who is educated, who is empowered, who is, well, the skill set. So what do you mean by competition from?
You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about my host country is they've taken very serious strides in human resource development. They've taken also very serious strides in citizen economic empowerment, and they've also taken very serious strides in EDD, economic diversification drive, citizen empowerment, and EDD, economic diversification. Yes.
How so? Especially on the, okay, both.
Well, one of the main drivers has been the insistence on 100% citizen-owned companies to do business with government. So we found that as a limiting factor to us in doing business here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because definitely most of the business is going to citizen-owned companies. Yes.
Okay.
Unless it's an open tender, then we can come in.
Do politics here kind of interfere with our economy? I mean, business, investors, foreign investors, and
Politics will always be an integral part of the economy. maybe not as directly as it is in other countries, but yes, politics does play a part in how the economic situation of a country, the economic direction a country is going to take.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Have you been a victim of the same? Has politics of the country made you kind of suffer as a business person, as an investor?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes, but I wouldn't use the word suffer.
Yeah.
It has made us grow because the more challenges you face, the more you reinvent yourself, the more you reset, the more you find ways of bettering yourself. You don't become complacent. You find ways of going about business. It's not business as usual, as I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now let's talk a bit about your birthday and your...
I turned 50 last year.
Last year.
Last year in May.
Yeah.
So actually, me and a friend of mine,
Yeah.
we were in school together.
In Kenya, right?
Yes, we're back in Kenya. He's now a resident of the US. And we're both motoring enthusiasts.
Oh.
Yes. So we've been doing a lot of cross-country driving, and we decided that before we turn 51, let us do a joint drive and something epic, and something that we can sit back and say we did something worth it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your plan with this?
We're driving. We're doing the Cape to Cairo drive. Cape to Cairo overland. We intend to start on Saturday.
This coming Saturday?
This coming Saturday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. We're going to take about 4 weeks from Cape Town through Namibia, Namibia into Zambia, Zambia into Tanzania, Tanzania into Kenya, Kenya into Ethiopia, Ethiopia into Sudan, Sudan into Egypt. Then we'll take a ferry from Egypt to Israel.
Yeah.
Then another ferry from Israel to Greece. Then hop again onto another ferry from Greece to Venice. Then again overland from Italy through France into the English Channel into the UK.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, besides celebrating your birthday, does this initiative, is it tied to any kind of charity event, or it's just for fun?
Primarily it is fun.
Okay.
Primarily it's for fun.
Yeah.
But we have committed that any funds that we shall raise in the process, any funds, any sponsors who come along because of our awareness, who are brought aboard on board because of our awareness,
Yeah.
those funds will be channeled to charity of 2 schools of our choice. Yes.
Okay.
One being our alumni high school, which is Nairobi School, and the second we are yet to decide.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you said that both of you are motoring enthusiasts, right?
Yes.
Is that the sole purpose or the sole reason why you decided to celebrate your birthday in such a way? Or there's something else?
No, I
Yeah.
think that is the primary reason.
Yeah.
Yes. We are we're outdoor 4x4 enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So until this point, how far or which distance? What is the longest distance you've covered on road?
About 4,800 kilometers, Gaborone to Nairobi. Yes.
How many days did you say?
5 days.
5 days.
Yes.
Okay. Will you stop over time?
Yes. No. That's easy driving. You drive 6 to 6. You rest. The next morning 6 to 6 and you rest. Yes.
Okay.
But it can be done in 3 days. It can be done. Some people do it in 3 days. Some people do it in 4 days. But we like to just take our time. Yes.
When was that?
I can't really remember. I think I've done it several times.
Okay, several times.
Yes.
Wow. So besides motoring, do you do anything else for your free time? Because you said you are an engineer by profession. You practice that. So when you're free, what do you do?
I work.
When you're free from work?
I don't really have free time. We create time. I'm just a normal man of my age, engage in usual activities of people my age.
Yeah.
That's basically it. Nothing spectacular, nothing special.
Okay.
Yes. I like to holiday. I like to travel. It's one of my hobbies.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking forward, do you have any plans of going out of Botswana? I mean, coming out of Botswana and perhaps relocating to?
At my age, really, relocation is not an option.
Yeah.
Maybe should circumstances change somewhere else, then maybe I would.
Yeah.
But it's not a priority at this point in time.
Okay.
Apart from the excitement that I have for the drive, we also, I must say, we encountered a few headwinds. It's a very expensive venture, and also the logistics is quite a nightmare.
What do you mean?
You have to get very many visas, and I think my biggest disappointment was the fact that within Africa we still require Africans to get visa. It doesn't make much sense. I don't see it. I would like the African leadership to really push through the African free trade and movement agreements, that we can move freely, at least within Africa. Yes. Yeah.
So still on that. So on this road, through how many countries will you pass?
I think 9 countries in Africa.
Have you factored in possibilities? Okay, besides the visa and other challenges that might come on the way, how safe is the roads?
Right now, from whatever research we've done, the road is safe.
Yeah.
The road is safe. There are a few pockets here and there in the north. But we will review that when we're in Nairobi, because we intend to be in Nairobi for a few days.
Yeah.
And we will review that route at the time once we get to Nairobi.
Okay.
And if there are any updates to the contrary, then we shall definitely be advised otherwise.
Have you ever done this sport as a profession?
No.
Yeah.
This is purely for pleasure.
Okay.
Yes.
And where do you get the training?
I've been driving. I drive. I've been driving since.
Okay.
I'm just.
I mean, okay. Is normal driving the same as motor driving or motor racing?
Well, it's not motor racing. This is a more or less long distance driving. It's not motor racing. It's not a sport per se.
Yeah.
It's more of an endurance test. Yes. Because it really takes a toll on your physical and mental state. So you have to be very fit. You have to be very fit both physically and mentally. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.